Right, so gentlemen, welcome to the inside of a BMW M8 Competition. How are you doing for, how are you doing for legroom?
Terribly, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, these back seats are pretty pointless. So there's not a lot of legroom, but it's made worse by the lumbar at the back. Obviously, it's not adjustable, but it's pushing me forward.
Right.
So I can't even get my back straight. So I'm being pushed like a duck forward, and I've got nowhere to put my feet. So there's absolutely no point in having these back seats. I'm going to be honest.
I'm just interested to see on the plus two seating front how plus two they are. So because I ran a Toyota GT86 for a while, and you could fit reasonable sized children in the back and two people in the front, and I thought it was all right actually. I think it's okay. So this is a car that is nearly 5 meters long.
Yeah. I mean, I'm clearly in here, but I'm not. I'm far from comfortable.
And I'm having
to from the pub, wouldn't you?
I'm having to push myself quite far forward. Yeah. I wouldn't want an airbag to go off in my face. Just a piece of,
All right. Well, I'll try not to make that happen. All right. Good. All right. Well, so new M8 Competition, which is the only version we get in the UK. So there's no non-competition version in the UK apparently.
Yeah.
Which means it's an M5 underneath, sort of, but shorter. Same power, 616 brake, same gearbox. Same four-wheel drive, can be rear-wheel drive.
That's clever.
System.
Yeah.
That is clever, isn't it? I think. So this is this is a 120-ish thousand pounds.
So what?
Porsche 911 is
£120,000.
Yeah. How much is an M5? 100.
About that. Yeah.
So it's more than an M5.
Yeah.
The 911 I've got is 90 something.
Is that with options?
Yeah, as it is. Yeah.
And the Bentley is one.
It's 140 something.
With the options it's got?
No, that not with the options. I haven't looked at the options list. But
right, so this could be, theoretically, this could be the car in the goldilocks zone of not sportiness, not true luxury, offers something of both. I do like it more than an M5.
Okay.
But I'm not sure I like it for the money more than an M5.
Yeah.
I think what an M5 does at the money is probably more impressive than what this does for the money, because this quite clearly doesn't fit so many people in.
No.
My slight problem is that on the motorway, the ride is a little bit firm. It's got those it sort of really thumps over compressions and things like that.
Has it got that thing where the initial travel's so stiff until it's really working?
I think it must be. I think it's that sort of dum 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 that you get, and it's really quite noisy over. If you go over like a section of concrete on the 25, it's noisy on that.
And I'm sitting right on the rear axle. I can feel everything.
Can you?
Yeah, I can feel every time the car moves.
Yeah.
I can actually feel it coming up through my seat here.
But where it is impressive is if you really start to lean on it on circuit, and if you turn off the front wheel drive and slide it around, it's really impressive. But then, how often are you going to do that in this car? I don't think it's a sports car. I think it's a GT car.
Yeah.
And for me, it is not either quite convincingly enough totally nailing the sports side of things or the GT side of things.
I mean, having driven 8 Series, it feels big on the road.
This, you know what surprised me slightly is this didn't feel as big on the road as I thought it was going to. Now, it could be just because I spent a lot of time in pickup trucks recently. But I was driving along, it felt a little wide on some B roads, and it looks big. But actually, when I went to park it in a multi-story yesterday, and I parked in, and I was like, oh, I can get out. This is fine.
Yeah.
This is fine. So it wasn't as bad as I thought, but given how little space there is inside, I'm glad it doesn't feel too massive outside.
I'm reckoning an M4 is probably bigger in the back.
Yeah.
I've got an M3. My M3 is definitely bigger than in the back.
Yeah. And let's be honest, an M4, yes, it's firm, but it's not going to do your head in on a long motorway journey.
I don't think so.
It's clever. I appreciate its engineering. It's a really clever car. The whole ability to be able to have it as a four-wheel drive car and a rear-wheel drive car, whether you'd ever do it or not. It's one of those things it can, and I do like that. That's a real clever bit of tech.
It feels rear-wheel drive on the road, doesn't it? Even in four-wheel drive.
Yeah, and in fairness,
M5s certainly do.
Yeah, and even in fairness, even on a good road like this, or a circuit like this, even when it starts to move around, it still feels rear-wheel drive up to the point that it moves, and then the front pulls it out and just gives it a bit of stability. So it feels like a natural BMW driving experience, if you like.
What do you think of the engine?
Right, let's have a listen to the engine for a moment. Quite a lot of road noises.
What is 615 horsepower, 620?
Yeah, 625 metric, 660 brake. So it's augmented through the speakers.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's quick.
It's quick. It's really quick.
Yeah.
It sounds augmented.
It doesn't sound spectacular, does it? And I think, that's, when you start sticking 2 turbochargers on things, that's kind of inevitable. But I still doesn't have a V8 woofle, and it doesn't have a V8 yelp. It doesn't have the straight 6 yelp like a lot of M cars do. So I don't know. I'm not underwhelmed by it, but I'm not blown away by it. And I know whelmed isn't the word, but whelmed I think is the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, who's going to advocate what?
Well, I am going to go proper luxurious GT.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go for a Bentley Continental GT.
Right.
With the V8 engine. So this is it. This is our Bentley Continental GT V8. So I'll give you a brief little précis of what we got. So we've got 4-litre twin turbocharged V8, which is 540 brake horsepower, I think. So a little down on the BMW, but it's got 568 pounds-foot of torque. It'll still do 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds and nearly 200 miles an hour. So it's no slouch.
I mean, the thing is, you've literally forgotten I'm here.
Is there someone in the back?
Yeah, it's fine. Hi.
Yeah, you're a long way
right, how were your legs in the M8? They were pretty cramped, weren't they?
It was horrible. Yeah.
You were legs.
I wasn't like
you were.
so,
What do they call it? What do they call it?
Mansplaining.
Man spreading.
Man spreading. Yeah.
Whereas back here, mate, I've got all. Well, I haven't got all the room in the world. It's not like it's an S-Class or anything, but there are nice seats. My head is just touching the roof if I let it, but I could spend. It's a little bit dark, but then it's a dark green interior.
Yeah.
I could spend quite a lot of time in it.
It does feel more spacious in here.
Yeah.
Way more spacious. There's not a lot that you look at and you touch, you don't think, oh, that's special, that feels expensive.
Nice. Yeah, this is nice. This is really nice. And I could cover big ground in this quite comfortably.
And do you think you could in the back?
Yeah, I mean, it would be nicer if in any modern hatchback would have more room in the back. If I was sitting in a Ford Focus, I'd have more room.
Yeah.
But actually, as these coupes go, this is fine. Could you go much further? You wouldn't want to go much further forward, would you?
Mate, I could. As the internet knows, I'm not very tall.
This is. Now I've got 5. There's not a huge amount of room for my feet underneath the seat in front, but there's a couple of divots taken at the back. It's fine. I could quite happily spend quite a long time here.
As a GT car, this one knocks the other two into a cocked hat quite easily.
I think.
And even the ride, I mean, it's on big old wheels, this thing. And so you do pick up the odd imperfection, you get a bit of a thud, but other than that, it's just lovely and wafty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
It's quieter as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's less road noise.
Much
body
quieter.
roll going around.
Yeah, well, we have a number of driver modes, so I am in, it's brilliant. I just love this. So we've got custom, we've got comfort, we've got sport, and we've got Bentley.
I love the Bentley mode, yeah.
Just put it in your Bentley driving mode. So I think if I do put it into sport, we can lose some of the roll. We get a bit of the V8. This sounds like a V8, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous. This is the luxurious, continent-crushing GT car, and yet it sounds, frankly, much more impressive and exciting than the M8 does.
It does.
Yeah, that is interesting actually. The M8 should sound more exciting than this,
You get a nice
but it does not.
proper V8 woofle.
Can I put it in comfort? How different is comfort to Bentley setting?
Let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go in comfort.
Oh, it's tired. Just a little bit more of that nice wafty float you expect from a Bentley. And yet it does, driving it on the road, it does turn in quite nicely.
Yeah.
I mean, it still weighs 2.1 tonnes, so it's not a lightweight.
Did it feel big?
No. You look at it and think this thing's going to be huge. No, because you sit that bit higher, it's got that slightly SUV thing about it. They've obviously thought very hard about how they're going to make you feel where the corners are. So it doesn't feel as intimidating, I don't think.
And they are surprisingly good fun to drive hard as well.
Yeah.
I've spent a bit of time driving these things hard. Way more agile than you think they're going to be. Give me some beans, go on.
Yeah, go on, give it a lot.
Come on, should we put it back in sport?
I'll hook myself up into the seatbelt.
And it's no slouch.
That was up to 100 in no time.
I mean, I can't think why you'd really want the W12 over the V8.
No, that's so common to the Bentley thing, isn't it? Is the W12 comes out and then the V8 comes out later, and it sounds better and it's more economical and it's quick enough and it's lighter, so that it handles better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I really like this thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is.
Yeah, this is a really nice car.
I feel like if you're gonna go GT, this is the way to go. I think the M8 is a bit compromised, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, good. Right. Next then, to the 911 and see if it can do GT stuff as well as it can do sporty stuff. Are you in?
Are you in?
I'm in, yeah.
Comfy?
I'm going to pretend I'm comfy.
Are you leaning over for the camera, or are you leaning over because that's as far as your head can?
That's as far as my head will go back.
Could you go to... I could go to the south of France like this, mate.
I could. Absolutely, yeah.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. So I think you've probably got marginally more legroom than I had in the back of the M8, but how's your back feel? Because that M8 was so uncomfortable on my back.
I can't honestly tell because I can't get my head upright enough to tell you exactly how my back is.
Right, all right.
But I have realised what my status in life is.
It's the backseat driver. So boys, listen, welcome to my 911 Carrera 4S, and let me tell you why I think this is pretty much the only car you will ever need.
Can you speak up because it's quite loud?
It is quite loud. There's quite a lot of tyre roll. There is. But basically, boys, Porsche have been making a variant of the 911 since 1963. Yeah. And I think it's fair to say that since then, every model they brought out has been better than the last, except for maybe one in the mid-90s.
Yeah, okay.
996.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure most people agree that was the... I know, controversial, but I think a lot of people will say that was the car. Everyone was so, when they got rid of the air-cooled engine, 996 came out. So I think pretty much since then, every 911 has been better than the last. And what Porsche do better than anybody with this car is that they combine its ability to be a fun sports car with its ability to cruise. Yep. So we could jump in this car and we could drive it down to the south of France, and then we could go to me and Matt would be happy.
I'm sure I agree with them on that.
But when we get there, me and Matt would definitely be happy enough to go up our favourite road, or we could take it to a track. Yeah. And I would have as much fun in this as I would in many dedicated sports cars. But similarly, with the more higher power and the faster 911s, if we were in a GT3, you could also drive that down to the south of France, and it would be an acceptable level of ride quality. Yep. This would be acceptable on track, and then some. So that is why I think this is pretty much all the car that I would ever need.
Would you
Discuss.
Would you? Well, there you go. That's it.
Is that from back here?
Right.
All right. Would you have? Because this is a 4S.
This is 4S, yeah. So 444 horsepower, twin turbocharged, 3 litre flat six.
Okay.
Yep. So think about that for a second. 3 litres, 444, and it 0 to 60, I think something like 3.4 seconds. Not with you two fatties in here, but Porsche claim, which is pretty quick.
I don't think you would ever. I know the other cars have got 500 something. Was it the Bentley? 542. And the M8 616. Yeah. There is no time that I've ever been in one of these and thought, oh, it needs loads more power. No. It definitely needs another 200 brake.
Yeah, it's
just doesn't. BMW weight? It's got to be 1900 kilos.
Yeah, just under 1900.
This is what?
I think they're. Yeah, a bit less, I think, aren't they? 1580 or something like that? Yeah. And I like, I love the rear-wheel drive one, but I actually like because of the four-wheel drive system, it kind of balances the front out. What you get in these, you get a little bit less of the nose bob because of the extra weight over the front axle. The way they drive, everything about them is just so nice. They're nice when you're on a constant throttle. They're nice when you're braking into a corner. They've got great straight line stability. They're fuel efficient because it hasn't got it's only a relatively small engine. It's got a 3 litre compared to your 4 litre, and what was yours? 4
litre as well.
4 litre as well. Okay, you got 4 litre, right? Yeah. So BMW 4. Yeah.
Do we think this is any? I totally agree. By the way, do you think this is any less comfortable than the M8?
For me, no, definitely not. I love it. The driving position is perfect for me here as well. Steering wheel straight line, my feet perfectly straight line. I'm really, really comfortable. I mean, how are you?
Well, I'm fine. I mean, if I didn't have an adult growing passenger, it's very rare that I have a grown man.
You're probably the first person in a while.
It is quite unusual to have a grown man sitting behind me in a car, in a small coupe. To be fair. So I think this would be okay. And if I could have a little bit extra rake, no, I can't.
No, that's fine.
There's a bit of tyre roar. I mean, we are talking about a GT, so there's maybe a bit more tyre roar than you'd ideally want on a long, long journey. But this road surface isn't great, so I reckon you could take 10% off that noise on a European road.
Yeah. And we are being sort of unfair because I know there's lots of talk over whether this is a sports car or isn't a sports car. I genuinely think a 911 is still a sports car.
I do as well. Absolutely,
a sports car. At the moment, it's got 4 fully grown people in it.
Yeah, 3.
3. Put it.
That noise. I even think this sounds better than the Bentley.
Oh yeah.
And again, they've done a really good effort at masking that this is turbocharged as well.
Yeah.
So good. The engine response is fantastic. The torque is mighty. does all the 911 things. Like when I pick it up, you can just feel it want to run.
Yeah.
Just feel it just skip slightly forward, but whoa,
I wonder, you know,
it's great.
'cause you know the Cayman GTS is about to get the naturally aspirated larger version of this engine.
Yes.
Do you reckon I'll put one in here?
Put one in this.
Put one in an island.
Yes.
Back
Yeah,
to a
why not?
naturally
Yeah,
aspirated
I can't see why not.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
Okay.
Sorry?
That would be good, wouldn't it?
I can't hear what you said, but like,
This is where this will excel. Look, watch. 100. 120 coming up now. Listen, that gear change as well. I mean,
you've got to ask the question. These turbocharged units
so
are
good.
so good. Why would you have a turbo?
So good.
Because that thump in the back they give
Yep.
that mid-range now, they are so quick across the ground. These things.
So there you go. I think we are, once again, that we speak as one voice.
Yep.
The greatest GT car in the world is also the greatest sports car of all time.
I think so.
Which
And I know,
is the Porsche 911.
yeah, I think so. And I feel a bit bad on the Bentley because that is a fantastic, as one job and one job only, it is a magnificent thing. But this has that extra element that is just so entertaining to drive as well.
Yeah. Okay, we're in agreement. All right, perfect. So there is more M8 content on elsewhere on this channel and on autocar.co.uk and in the mag and everything else. There is an M8 versus Ford Mustang test you and I did.
Yes.
Which is really good fun, I think.
It's going to be good.
So anyway, like, subscribe. We'll see you very soon back on the channel with more excellent reviews, news, drag races, motor shows.
Less men in the back of cars.
Fewer men in the back of cars.
I might still
More
be in the
cockpit
back of this
cars.
car.
Yeah.
I'm not getting out.